Hello, welcome to the show, everybody. Now, I've been a professional tattoo artist for many years, and every week I like to help my viewers find the best tattoo artists for their tattoo plans. But I'm also going to point out some of the tattoo artists that you might want to watch out for. So stick around, because this week we're checking out artists in Phoenix, Arizona, where one of our viewers out there, she's looking for a tattoo artist that specializes in fine line tattooing and pointillism, a very unique style of tattooing, and I think we found the best of the best. But first, let me point out an artist that the rest of you Phoenicians might want to avoid. Let's break it down. That's right, this gentleman's name is Bingo. Bingo Bada Bing. At least that's the only name I could find for him on all social media. It was really hard, so sorry guys, can't tell you his real name, but that's what it looks like he goes by, working at Limitless Ink Tattoo Shop. Now, go ahead and check him out on Instagram, but you can also check out his Instagram, Bingo Bada Bing. Like I said, I couldn't find his real name, but he's working there at Limitless Tattoo, and, you know, off the bat, I would say he looks like a pretty clean artist on paper. Look at some of this cool shit. They got a weird little baby cherub also wearing a hat, saving his bro from a shark. That's some cool artwork, and some of this stuff was just very clean. Looks like it spent a lot of time and an energy on it, but, when I moved on to the tattooing, well, when I could find a picture that wasn't super blurry, looking like it was taken with a 90s cell phone, I don't even know why. I mean, what's the point of spending hours doing tattoos if you're just going to take really poor quality pictures? A lot of them were just blown out lighting like this too, so I really couldn't tell what was going on. Just super blurry stuff. Huge red flag, guys. If you find an artist and most of his artwork isn't even like discernible, the images are all blurred, the lighting is terrible, the focus is all off, that's a huge red flag right there. They don't care about their product enough to showcase it nicely. They're probably not going to care about your skin either. This is a strange looking piece. I'm not sure what this just empty circle is here, but I can tell there's like a forest going on. There's some birds up here, but again, it's just too blurry to tell. But then I finally came across one that had decent enough resolution and focus that I could talk about it. Now, in this episode, I want to talk a lot about line work, because line work is the most obvious red flag. It's the most obvious tell when you're looking through an artist's portfolio, you're trying to determine whether or not you can trust them, if they're the artist for you. Line work is where it's at. You gotta be able to zoom in as far as you can. And Bingo here is a great example of what to watch out for. First off, we have doubled over lines. You see right here how you can see two squiggly lines next to each other? And it's in multiple places on his whole portfolio. On this piece alone, you see it dozens of times. Now, that tells you that he's trying to double and triple over his lines. Now, that's a really difficult thing to do. And if you think that that's not hard, try it on a piece of paper. Just take a pen, draw a line, and then try to double over that line. It's not easy to do, especially on a moving, breathing human being. But if you've been tattooing many years, you learn how to mitigate those risks, and you figure out how to do it, how to get your depth proper, how to get your angle proper. Now, what am I talking about? You gotta have a 90-degree angle perpendicular to the skin when you're outlining. This is very specific for us artists. Now, in this image right here, you see the person is not. They're at a 45-degree angle to the skin. Now, what that's going to do is when that needle punctures, sure, the dot is going to be right there where the needle punctures, but the ink is going to be injected here. And therefore, the line is going to look a lot blurrier than it's meant to, and it's going to have a lot harder time healing because you've damaged a thicker area of skin there. And so now the ink can blur out under the skin. That's what we refer to as blowout, and this is what causes it when you're at a really harsh angle to the skin. What you're looking for is artists that are going to do a nice 90-degree angle like this. Well, you would hope that they'd shave your skin first. I don't know why I picked this picture where there's hair in it, but this is what you're looking for, though, a nice 90-degree image. Now, or a 90-degree angle. Now, another really important thing, very important in tattooing, is tight skin. Stretching the skin as we work. It's another difficult thing. It's hard to get used to, but artists have to learn to do it. Otherwise, this is what you see. See what's happening here? Whenever that needle punctures, it pushes the skin down first, and then it punctures. So the tighter the skin is, the easier the needle can puncture. And if you don't get those things right, this is what happens. Now, first off, you zoom in, you can see a lot of these lines are lighter and softer and thinner, and that's not intentional on his part. That's because his needle wasn't at the same depth the whole time. Now, why? It's probably because the skin was not tight enough. So every time that needle's hitting, the skin's wobbling and the needle's not puncturing correctly. Now, why are they so blurred and blotchy in some of these areas? Probably because his angling was wrong. Now, these are really important red flags to look for with clients because this is what's going to determine whether or not your tattoo heals well. And this poor person with this portrait, I hope they shaded it in and covered up some of these line mistakes here, but gosh, it's just, I hope they had somebody else do it and not Bingo here. Let me move on though. Let me talk about some of his cover-ups. We talked about this in the last episode, because sometimes people come in, this happens to me all the time, a client will come in with a name or something, and they don't want a big tattoo over it, they just kind of want one that's big enough. And what you end up with is this. You end up with a small tattoo with large dark areas in it. You can clearly see where that name was. So it's really something you got to watch out for, and it's something that Bingo should have been warning those people about, warning his clients about, so that they know better than to do this. Even if they insist that that's what they want, you got to talk them out of it. Now here he went big, but for some reason he didn't go more detailed. This person decided they were no longer a juggalette. They weren't down with the clowns anymore. He was trying to put a raven over top. Here, I got a better picture here. There we go. Now, he did a great job covering it up, but the main problem I see is that there's no real good detail. There's no cover-up going on up here. Why is this so dark? How come you only see just a few feathers? And also, how come he has a dark backdrop with a dark foreground? Bad, bad, bad news. Now, this is sort of day one shit for tattoo artists. This is something that he should have known, that his background was going to blur into his foreground. So he needed some sort of highlight on the crow, on the raven. Now, he could have glared this yellow off of there really easily, even though, you know, the moon's usually not yellow like that. But he could have done a yellow glow off there, and it would have looked really cool. But also, I'm seeing that he outlined the black back here instead of fading it into the purple. That also would have differentiated it a lot more, and it wouldn't have looked so stiff in there. It would have looked a lot smoother of a transition. But I think that's sort of his MO, to take shortcuts. Here's another one of his cover-ups, and good God, that is horrible. Whoever did that first was terrible, but I don't know that he necessarily made it any better. He just made it bigger and more colorful, but it's still, you know, really kind of blotchy and choppy looking. So I think this is a pretty obvious one, guys, the obvious one to avoid. But those of you out there in Phoenix looking for tattoo shops, you're trying to get in right away, please, please be warned, be wary. These are not the kind of, or these are the kind of artists that you're going to run into, and these are the ones you definitely don't want. Again, a cover up here, and you can just see the lines coming through it. Look at that. You can see there was a cover up there. I hope he eventually colored it, but again, we're seeing really scraggly lines where he could not keep his depth to the same every time he was drawing lines, and you get a lot of this scraggles here where he's trying to fix his line work. Over and over again, I saw the same mistakes. Geez, this is just butchered. I don't know if this was partially healed and he was just doing a background on it. This red back here was him trying to do light gray and just butchering it. This is way too light. It's not going to heal nicely. You can tell it's really, really beat up skin. So all the color you're seeing there is just redness and puffiness. It's not the light gray ink that he was hoping to get there. And here's a lion. This lion apparently needs some dentures, though. I don't see any teeth in there. It's a little strange. He was proud of this one, though. He wanted to make the collage of it so you could see at every angle that, oh, it's a tiger. Sorry, I said lion. It's a tiger with no teeth. Here again, he made that same mistake. He did a super light backdrop. Now, you see this sort of sepia tone that they got in here. It's when the light gray or the gray wash is mixed with the blood and the irritation from your skin being beat up a little bit. Now, it looks darker here, but when this heals, it's just going to be super, super light, barely visible ink. And I don't think that's what the client was going for, especially in such a large area. You could have done a lot more texturing, clouds, whatever it may be, but this looks to me like a really lazy, quick way to get them in, get them out. And just, yeah, I think design work is not his forte. Taking photos is obviously not his forte. I got a lot of glare in most of them, a lot of blur, out of focus in the rest. This one was one of his better ones. I still don't like the design work here. I see that he outlined the cheetah print here. That's a big mistake. They end up looking like packing peanuts when you outline them like that. So you just want to go in with a shader. But a lot of artists, when they're trying to take a shortcut, it's easier to just outline it real quick and then shade later, rather than slowly shading each one to make sure you don't lose your stencil. Another strange thing here, though, is that this tear sort of took a detour on her face right there. This one did too, just a little detour. I think that's most likely him having a hard time controlling his liner like we've seen in previous tattoos. This one is a little rough looking. I know what he's going for here, some sort of half and half regular lion, half like Japanese lion or dragon or something. I don't know, but it really just looks like a lion had a stroke. I don't know, it's like this half of his face is just kind of lumping off. Again, just really kind of quick, poor design work, and he's having a really hard time executing them. So this was probably the best one I found in his portfolio, a little R2-D2. Now, I saw a lot of little squiggles in there still, not straight lines and all this, but the shading, again, it's a little too light, and it's probably not going to stay, but some of this down here was a nicer medium tone that'll probably look a lot better, but you know, from a little bit of a distance, though, this was one of his cleaner pieces for sure. Bingo! Please, guys, be warned. I checked out the other artists at Limitless, and now 1 out of every 10 tattoos was probably acceptable. So this is just my opinion, of course. Go check them out for yourself and leave it in the comments below what you think. But for now, I definitely think that they're hacks, so I would avoid them at all costs. But Stick around. I found a brilliant husband and wife fine line tattooing team there in Phoenix, Arizona. Some of the best of the best. You're going to want to see it. Stick around. Alright guys, before I move on to the next artist, real quick, I just want to remind everybody that if you're out there looking to get a tattoo and you want our help finding a tattoo artist, it's no problem. Just send an email to TheHackHunters@gmail.com. Let us know what city you're in and let us know what style of tattoo you're looking to get, and we'll definitely help you out. Alright, that's it. Now let's get back to the artwork. Alright, I'm going to kick it off with Anthony Triana. Now, him and his wife are the owners at 27 Tattoo Studio, but I'm going to showcase him first because our viewer this week requested finding them an artist that does fine line, pointillism, gray work. Now, that is his style to a T, and I'll get into it in a second here, but definitely don't sleep on this studio, you guys out there in Phoenix, 27 Tattoo Studio. You can find them 27tattoo.com. Now, it's him and his wife there, but they also have a slew of very talented and versatile artists. Each one of them have their own sort of niche, their own forte, and so if you're there in town and you're looking for a quality team, I would absolutely recommend these guys. Now, you can check out Anthony's Instagram on 2Anthony7 on Instagram there. Let's go into it, though. Check out some of this work. You would think that is done by a printer. Look how smooth and straight those lines are. Just as clean as it can possibly get. Mind-blowing stuff throughout. Now, I am not a pointillism artist, and so I really only can appreciate it in the sense of I recognize what quality application is, and I can appreciate the artwork, but I don't know exactly how they do this sort of fading. I know, though, that some artists will slow down their liner, and they'll literally just do slow kind of whips with their liner, and then other artists will do this dot by dot by dot. Either way, it's incredibly time-consuming, detailed work. Ugh, especially on a hand. Oh my gosh. Very easy to cause blowout on a hand, like I was talking about before, because there's so many peaks and valleys in these knuckles here that it's very difficult for us artists to keep a 90-degree angle that whole time. We have to kind of adjust our angle in the middle of lines. Not to mention, very hard to get your depth right. It's very easy when there's a bone near the surface to go slightly too deep and to cause some scarring. And so to see such clean work right along that knuckle line, it's really, really impeccable stuff. I love to see the little animals he did. It's really kind of a unique take on animal portraits. I think any, animal parent, if you got your puppy or your kitty, would love to have this sort of like memento on them without having to go all the way to having like a realistic portrait done. This is sort of the next best thing, I think. And he does it very, very clean, very well. Kind of creates his own custom version of the animal portrait. Oh man, and again with these bold lines. When we create lines this bold, it's not just one big bold like a thick Sharpie or something. When we're tattooing these, we actually have to tattoo two thinner lines perfectly parallel to each other, and then we have to fill them in, right? So I think anybody, even if you're not a tattoo artist, you can appreciate how difficult that would be to tattoo two lines perfectly parallel to each other and then to fill them in so smoothly in such a tight little area. Very, very difficult, very impressive. Trust me when I say, not easy stuff at all. But man, look at the quality of detail on that. I've said it many times, but that's what you're looking for in an artist, you guys. When you're out there searching, you want to see something that, even though this is not a giant sleeve piece or anything, he took a lot of time and energy to make this look perfect. And that's the kind of artist you want, one that's going to make something look perfect, even if it's not giant. Oh my god! That is a nightmare! Oh, no thank you. I am very grateful that there are artists out there like Anthony that when a client comes to me and asks me to do something like this, I can say, nope, I am not the guy for the job, but I know who is. And man, did he nail this. That is just beautiful, clean work. Especially on a head, it is very easy to traumatize the skin. Very easy to go too deep on the skin or cause blowouts. So to see it this smooth and this clean on such a round, bumpy surface, man, I gotta give him kudos. Oh, what a cool design. And another thing from this whole studio, I saw every one of their artists are custom artists. And so when I see something like this, I know this is not something that somebody brought in offline and they found it on Google and they said, just stick it on me. This is something custom. So, and you can tell he's putting a lot of time and energy into these. And definitely very, very good at sleeve work, compiling sleeves, all this really tight geometric patterns in there. I don't even want to imagine how long that would take. But he took a couple different views of this, so I'll show you all of them. Feel free to pause it and zoom in. Just incredible stuff. Overall, just amazing. I love this sort of pattern in here. That is not easy to recreate with just pointillism. Another huge back piece. So it shows you he's really got a skill for compiling these and conforming these to the shape of the human body. That's the most difficult part about designing sleeves or back pieces for all of us artists. You got to make sure that it fits the shape of the body. Not only fits it, but complements it. And man, he did really well here. This was so brilliant to put this piece right as a center point down the middle of the spine there. I thought that was just genius. Great placement. Another just really cool show of how good he is with this small detail. Look at all those tiny little lines. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful, clean stuff. Now, something I want to talk about real quick before I move on is something that I've been seeing a lot of, and I've even had some of you comment on down below, that artists put filters nowadays on their photos. It's very easy, especially with Instagram filters, really quick, easy to do, put a vignette on there or blur the background. But in some cases, artists are kind of deceptively doing it. They're darkening it so that their blacks look really rich and absurdly black, or they're making their colors super saturated so they're over the top vibrant. And I've always kind of held the position that this is really a deceptive practice. I don't think it's fair to do that to clients. At the very least, you're setting an expectation that clients will never actually get. Now, in Anthony's work, he absolutely does change it up a bit and edit the photos. Now, what he's done is reduce the saturation, okay? And that's why all the skin in most of his photos looks very pale. Now, this particular type of editing, I don't find any problem with, because the reason he's doing that is to reduce the redness that you would typically see off of a fresh tattoo. And unfortunately, as artists, that's the only time that we usually get to take those photos, is right after the tattoo is done. So either we take a photo with red irritated skin, or we don't get a photo at all. And so I don't mind that he's done this. Now, the brilliant thing, the thing that I really want to give him props for, is that he always posts the original. And there it is. And you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Just a little bit of redness here. And in this particular photo, it's not that bad, but I like what he's doing here. I don't think that this is deceptive in any way, but at the same time, it definitely is a filter. And so, you know, I always like to let my viewers know, but I absolutely give Anthony props for being totally transparent, honest, and posting the original photos as well. So, Anthony, I think you're a killer, man. You're doing everything right. I think you're respectful to your clients. I think you're put together a great studio with some amazing artists behind you. Now, I absolutely approve of Tony. Now, let's see what his wife has to offer. Stick around, guys. Now, if you had your mind blown by Anthony's work, stick around for Miss April Triana. She has some of the most beautiful color work you will ever see. And I'm going to kick it off with just a really tiny one right here, right? Tiny little heart, Bart Simpson in there. You got to appreciate the extra details she did with the speckling effect inside that starburst there. But what's mind-blowing to me is the quality of saturation. That looks like a fucking sticker. That is so, so clean. And trust me when I say it is very difficult to get a yellow, that vibrant yellow, right after it's been done. You can see it's a little bit of redness here. You can tell this was a fresh tattoo, but you're not seeing any blood bleed through from the yellow. That means that she delicately found that balance between applying the ink and not traumatizing the skin. That's the most difficult part for any and every artist, is to damage the skin without doing too much damage to the skin. And I say it all the time, and she has found this amazing equilibrium between those two. And when it comes to these cartoon characters, these are just second to none. I was just blown away by every single one. Look how smooth the outlines are. Look at those eyelashes. And then to mix that with her amazing ability to saturate colors is just incredible to me. You cannot go wrong if you're looking for a color piece by her. Now, don't get it wrong, she does a lot of larger stuff, sleeve pieces as well, but this was some of the stuff that I thought was definitely her forte and that she would want to showcase, because I just thought that her saturation is so incredible that it just makes for the perfect ability to do some cartoon characters, Disney characters. Look at this, right on a throat, and if I zoom in on one of these soft pastel pinks, these are hard to apply on their own, let alone on a throat, but then she does it in such an amazingly saturated way. So clean. Such beautiful artwork. And then to see this, she's also got that touch of fine line ability, just like her husband. They both do that very, very clean, very well. But, you know, he leaned towards the black and gray, and she leans towards what she's really great at in this saturating colors. Just beautiful. Beautiful little kitty there. Oh, and look at this little gentleman. Oh, my gosh. I cannot even tell you guys. I was just blown away every piece. Every piece. Look how smooth of a gradation that backdrop is from dark blue, or actually it's just a medium blue to light blue. But she saturates it so well that she didn't even need a dark blue up in there for contrast. Just gorgeous, gorgeous work. I don't think I've seen any artist do such quality, clean Disney characters as she does, in this style especially. Oh my gosh, that genie in the lamp. That is so perfect. Might as well be looking at a TV screen right now. That's just unbelievable. Oh, by the power of Grayskull, look at that. I love all the little speckles in the background that contrast that purple or the lavender backdrop. That's really, really clever. Really, really clever work. And if you were wondering, how well does this heal? How well does that saturation stay on the skin? Well, bam, there is a healed piece. Still very vibrant, very clean. The black lines are still really crisp. No blur out, no bleed out, no missing lines or shallow lines in there. Just believe me, I look and I nitpick and I try to find little holes in the technique here and there, but she just really has her application down. So April, unbelievable. Dare I say maybe even a little bit better than your husband? No, I'm not going to say all that. You guys are both an incredible team. I love to see you guys owning the studio, working together. That's just brilliant. Anybody in Phoenix, please go check these guys out. You will not be disappointed. And of course... Alright, you guys, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you get notified. We put out new episodes every week. We go to different cities every week, and we might be coming to your city soon. So, stick around. We'll be back next week. And in the meantime, if you're hunting for an artist, don't forget to zoom in. Alright, we'll see you next week. Bye.